Hi, I'm Professor Raina, and I thought I would send out this video as a way to introduce myself and talk a little bit about the things to expect as we start into the summer semester. So this is for both my Texas and my US online courses. And first, let me just introduce myself. So I have been with ACC for almost 12 years now. I've been at the Riverside campus for 11 years. I have taught at all of the community colleges except for SAC in San Antonio, which is where I'm from. I've taught at St. Mary's University, my alma mater, and Our Lady of the Lake University. I have my degrees in political science, and I have done various things involving politics. So I've worked for interest groups, I've worked for political parties, I have done work in voting and elections. I was a labor union organizer for a small period of time, which in Texas, if you know anything about Texas politics, was an uphill battle, but I learned a great deal. One of my greatest achievements in my field has been the writing of the 16th and 17th edition of Practicing Texas Politics. I just finished the 17th edition, let's see, in December. And so that was really exciting. And it was such a long and arduous process, almost like giving birth, but so well worth it. So I've been focusing on Texas and my teaching for several years, and I haven't taught a US class in a while, but there's so much that's going on that I decided it's time for me to dive right in. And so I'm teaching this US online class, and I haven't taught a class in US for a while. So that's why some things are taking a little longer, because I am revamping my US class. So I have my degrees in political science. I love teaching at community college because of the diversity of our students. I think we have amazing students with just great, interesting backgrounds, which makes them interesting students. So let's just talk a little bit about, and I forgot to tell you something very, very important to me. Outside of teaching full-time, I have 4 daughters. My husband and I are very proud of our children. I have, my oldest is going to be a junior in August, which I'm still can't believe, Alessandra. I have a 7-year-old, Anaí. I have a 6-year-old, Amadi, and our baby is 17 months, almost a year and a half. She is Aria. So they keep us very busy outside of, both of us are educators, and I try to do volunteer work as often as possible. So let's get into some of the nuts and bolts. So tomorrow morning, you will have access to Blackboard. I am still kind of, just doing last minute things and fixing it. And you will find if you are new to Blackboard or ACC, it's very, very user friendly. Go to ACC, their main webpage, which is austincc.edu. At the top, you'll see where it says Blackboard. Click on that, and it'll give you the instructions on what to do. If you're familiar with it, it's really easy. And even if you haven't, it's very easy. If you need help, you can call 223-HELP. I believe that's it. Either it's 223-HELP or 223-TECH. I'm pretty positive it's 223-HELP. And they will walk you through. When you click onto our class, you will see on the left-hand side of the screen that it'll have different tabs for the course. And I do have an announcement that walks you through what is in each of those tabs. And then it will have the announcements page. And that's where I give out general emails and announcements. And you always want to check those on a regular basis. Some of those I've emailed out, and some of those I have not, because they're from previous semesters and they still apply within this semester. So make sure to look over those. There's information about plagiarism, about the Remind app, just general information that you need to know. After you take a look at that, go to the left-hand side of the screen and you'll see where it says syllabus. Click on that tab. You'll see your orientation, your syllabus, and your deadline sheet there. You will also see the picture and information of the textbook you need. but that is also in your syllabus. You need one textbook. You don't need online access. Of course, if you do get online access, I think it could be quite useful, although it's not required for the course. So you'll start with your orientation. That's at the very top. Read through it. There are 19 items on the orientation. This is our contract, essentially. Your orientation and your syllabus are our contract between you and I. So the orientation goes over kind of the general 19 items that you need to say yes to in order to be fully registered into the course. So look at your orientation. After you look at your orientation, go to the syllabus and read through the syllabus. Now I know you want to skim through it. I tend to want to do that as well, but because this is a short class, 5.5 weeks, it's really imperative that you read carefully and avoid skimming as much as possible. If you skim, you're bound to miss important information. So I would highly urge you to please look through it carefully. After you go through the syllabus, take a look at the deadline sheet. It'll tell you when your tests need to be taken and when your discussion boards are due. So on the deadline sheet, that date that's on there, that's the last day that you could complete your tests or your discussion boards and not receive any problems. I don't have any late work, okay? I just don't have, with such a short course time, we just don't have time to allow any late work. Now, I do allow one extension for one test for 2 days or 48 hours. So let's say your test is due on a Monday. You haven't used your extension, which is only allowed for tests 1, 2, and 3, because test 4, I give you all the way till the end of the semester practically to take that last test. So you can use your extension, one extension for tests 1, 2, or 3. And let's say the test is on a Monday, you use your extension, you email me like you're required, it gives you the instructions in the syllabus. Then you'll have till Wednesday to take that test, and you'll have no deductions or any problems, as long as you email me and follow the rules set up in the syllabus. So your deadline sheet tells you the last day that you can complete your tests or your discussion boards. Okay, after you have looked at your orientation, your syllabus, your deadline sheet, and you've looked over your announcements, then you can complete your orientation and email it to me. And the instructions on the orientation state not to put it in an attachment, but to put it in the body of an email. With so many students, I just don't have time to kind of click through attachments. So I ask you to put it in the body of the email. The other thing, I sent this in the announcements. I don't know when it was. Let's see, today is Monday, so I want to say last Wednesday or so, I sent an announcement out to tell you to sign up for Remind.com. It is required to do so. If you sign up with Remind before or by, let's see, Friday, I believe it is, June 2nd, then you can get 3 extra credit points. All extra credit points go towards your test grade or a test grade. So if you get a 95 on a test and you have 3 points from Remind, it's like you got a 98. The orientation as well is due, I believe, by June 2nd. And if you turn it in on time, you get 2 points for that. So 5 points that you can get for extra credit for really simple things. If you go beyond my deadlines for the orientation and the Remind, for the orientation, a point will be deducted for every day it's late, and I may actually drop you for not turning that in. I have never had to do that in my 12 years of teaching at ACC, so I'm hoping I will never have to do that. But it is imperative that you send that orientation to me by the deadline as soon as possible. Now, Remind, I will take off points if you don't sign up for it. I believe the max I will take off is -5 points. Remind is a great way to communicate with you because a lot of students don't have time to check emails or Blackboards for, urgent issues. So this is a great way for me to text you for anything urgent or to remind you about an assignment. Now, I do not promise you that I will always send out a text to remind you that your test is due or a discussion board is due, but I certainly do try. And I like Remind because It is an easy way to communicate with students. So I have decided to focus on quality over quantity. So you have 4 tests, which are worth 70% of your grade, and you have 3 discussion boards which are worth 30% of your grade. So the bulk of the work is through the tests. So after you complete your orientation, you've signed up for Remind, you've looked through your syllabus and your deadlines, I would start to tackle your tests. I will put a podcast up, which is like your study guide. You listen to it. Now, if there is a problem with listening to a podcast, I need to know as soon as possible. Because this is my first semester doing a US class in a while, I don't have those typed up. So I would ask if any student needs a podcast to be typed up to let me know no later than Friday, June the 2nd, because it's going to take me some time to do that or find a student to do it. And so I ask you to let me know as soon as possible. For the Texas class, I do believe I have some of those podcasts typed up. So just let me know ASAP. But podcasts have been a great way to help my students as a study guide to review for tests, and they've been really successful. I have found that students who utilize them do much better than students who do not. It is completely up to you. It is optional. But I will say, please try them. Now, if you just listen to the podcast and don't read the text, you're not going to do well. You must read the textbook. It is imperative that you do so. Another one of the tabs on Blackboard are course documents, and that will provide you PowerPoints. They're just general PowerPoints, but they do kind of, I feel, help so that as you're reading through the book, you know what are some high points or some important points as laid out in the PowerPoints, because I would use those PowerPoints in my classroom to highlight lectures and discussions. So it would still be very good for you to use, maybe to print them and put your notes on them, however you would like to use them. So tests are 1 through 4, and I try to break them down 2 to 3 chapters a test so that it's totally doable. I don't want you to regurgitate and memorize. I really would like for you to learn. I don't have a midterm or a final. These are just broken down into 2 to 3 chapters a test. The discussion boards, I like to think of them as like a virtual classroom discussion. And I try to make them interesting, things that they're not hard. They do take some time, right? But I like these as things that are interesting topics that you would, want to look into. And you will be required to do 2 threads. One is your answers, where you answer my questions from the discussion board. And then your second thread is you responding to another student. And it's all within your syllabus. So again, it's quality over quantity. I will try, if I find something interesting or useful, to provide extra credits. Extra credit points would always go towards your test grades only. I don't provide them anywhere else. Even if you were to email me and say, well, I don't need any extra credit points towards my tests, I can only do it towards the tests. I can't do for one what I won't do for all. Okay, so I'm pretty strict in keeping with the syllabus. I understand things happen. I just ask you to communicate with me as quickly as possible, and I will do the best to always help you. Now, the discussion boards, even though they seem like, okay, it's only 10% each discussion board, no big deal. Well, think about it like this. If you miss one discussion board, it will drop your final grade at least 1 full letter grade. Okay, that's the easiest way to kind of understand that even though it's not a big percentage, they still can very much impact your overall final grade. Okay, contact me through email is the best way. I give my personal phone number in the syllabus in case you have an emergency Friday through Sunday. I explain to you, I don't check emails as often. I dedicate that time to family and service. But if it's an emergency where it's going to impact your grade, I give you my personal number to text me or call me. I prefer text, but proctored exams. It's it's a little bit sticky because I will probably not do proctored exams outside of this first summer session. They're just a little too difficult. There's a lot of nuances that make it tough, especially in a very small time period. I prefer, if you absolutely can, please take your tests at any ACC. We have some, I believe, in San Marcos and in Fredericksburg and up in Round Rock. So it's easiest if you can do that. They will grade your test. You'll get your grade as soon as you are done with the test. If you have to proctor your exam, well then absolutely, I completely understand. But please note that I have stated in my syllabus and in other places that proctored exams, because I have to manually grade them, because they Scantrons are emailed or faxed to me and I can't put that through the machine. I have to sit there and manually grade them. So that will take more time. I will get them back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you are able to take it at an ACC location, that will help you to get your grade back faster and be a lot easier. But if not, I understand, no problem. Make sure that you get that taken care of by Friday. I need that done within this first week because there is a lot of paperwork that's involved and a lot that I need to prepare on my end. Okay, I think that's pretty much kind of the bulk of the things that I needed to make sure you knew. I have my husband who is texting me and saying that we have some things we need to do. So my apologies if you hear my phone going off. I am looking forward to a great semester. There's a lot of fun and interesting things going on in both Texas and the US. I look forward to getting to know you. And if you have any questions or problems, always communicate with me. I'm always happy to work with you and help as best I can. But again, my motto is always, what I do for one, I have to be able to do for all. So that's why it's just easiest to stay with the syllabus. If you have something that goes on, always provide documentation, and that will help me to evaluate the situation and what I may be able to do. Okay, I look forward to meeting you. We'll see you or speak with you soon. The best way to always contact me is through email. Take care.